Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you tonight I thought I was going to return to you earlier for this movie review, but I kind of screwed up on it. So I'm returning to you for the Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition movie review. And I got my hands on the movie, of course. So I'm going to discuss what I watched for this movie early this morning and let you know my thoughts on it. So let's dive into this review. Now, I revisited this movie 5 years after it came out, and when I first watched it, I was not that crazy about the Zack Snyder cut for this movie. Don't get me wrong, he's not a terrible director. It's just how the writers and the script was going. It wasn't performing very well. Um, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, ugh, he's okay, but I wouldn't say he's a great Lex Luthor. He kind of tried to embrace his role. Of course, you know that I don't like Jesse Eisenberg. Because I mentioned it in the Zombieland Double Tap movie review I did, I think back in 2019, when I reviewed it in October of 2019. But yeah, I do like the cover for this movie, for the Ultimate Edition. This one's, it's okay. Coming back to it, I just missed some things that were very important into going into the next movie, which is Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut. And that movie is a lot longer, but it is well worth watching. Yeah, towards the end of this movie, things start getting a bit better towards the end of the movie with the Doomsday fight. I figured out in the movie how General Zod turned into Doomsday, and I was like, that's interesting. I kind of missed that part in the movie because the movie just felt bland for most of it, and just underperformance with some of the actors. You don't see Gal Gadot in much of this movie that much because it's mostly focusing on Batman and Superman. And not to say in a bad way that I hate this movie, I just think it's okay. It's slightly better than the theatrical version, and the theatrical version was not really that good. For 2.5 hours, you're not in for a great movie. Ben Affleck as Batman, there are times where he's okay, and then there's times where his acting is not so good playing as Batman, and he kind of sounds like a entitled asshole through most of this movie from time to time. I'm not saying, it just depends on the scenes that he's in when he's talking. Sorry, I almost thought I was gonna choke on my spit or something. That would have sucked. It's kind of gross, but yeah, Henry Cavill is great as Superman. Amy Adams is great as Lois Lane, and the one that plays his mother, Martha or whatever, she's a pretty good actress too. And there's a few pluses. Gal Gadot is great as Wonder Woman in this movie, but you don't rarely see her through much of the movie. You see her from time to time, but not in all this movie. So yeah, and there was a scene in this movie that I quite enjoyed, which it was the Doomsday fight mostly that I really enjoyed towards the end of the movie, which you find out later on at the very end of the movie that Superman sacrifices himself to kill Doomsday. And it's pretty sad. It's an emotional ending to the movie, but it builds you. And there's one more scene I forgot to mention before I start rating this movie. They explain, well, Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, also known as Diana Prince, it goes into this file that was sent by Bruce Wayne, also known as Ben Affleck or the Batman, and she sees the files for the Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman, and some others too. Well, it's mostly those three, I guess you could say. But pretty much overall, I think this movie's okay. The Ultimate Edition is a bit better, but not great. I gave this a chance again just to see what I would think of it. And Zack Snyder's cut for Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition, slightly better, but not perfect. It's best to revisit these movies to see what you missed with certain movies, but yeah, I don't think it performed very well. The execution of this movie, it was lacking. It was lacking a good script. And it dragged on for a while, for fucking almost 3 hours, or at least 3 hours. But for a score, I'm going to give Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition a 6.5 out of 10. This is an alright movie. It's watchable. It's just... it's 3 hours for the Ultimate Edition. The regular version is only 2.5, but it doesn't really explain much in the 2.5 one, but I only spent $7 on it, so I was very choosy on if I wanted this movie or not, but I guess I'm okay with keeping it. I'm just like, it was only $6.99 I spent, so it's not that bad. For an okay movie, I guess you could say. But comment below, let me know what you guys thought of the movie Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition, if you have seen it, the 3-hour version of it, which it is rated R. I'm just letting you guys know that. But the rated R version is better. It's slightly better. I wouldn't say it's fantastic. It still has problems, but it could have been a bit better. But it's what we're getting. Zack Snyder didn't do a bad job directing this film. It's just the writers kind of slipped up with the script from time to time, and there were some confusing plot holes in the movie that I couldn't follow. Some scenes had some plot holes that I just felt was bland. And not a lot of people liked this movie, to be honest, because it wasn't their favorite movie. And I can understand why, because if you come back and revisit it, you'll appreciate it a bit more, but you still have concerns with the movie's performance. But I will, if you did like this movie review, if I already said that already, I'm not sure if I did, comment below and let me know your thoughts on it. Tap a like on this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you can, support the channel. If I did repeat it again, I'm very sorry. I tend to forget if I repeat these things. Please forgive me on that. I will be returning to you tomorrow for the Offspring Let the Bad Times Roll album review, unless I decide to do it tonight, because I have been listening to the album since Monday. I just didn't want to review it yet because it's not the 16th or close to the 16th yet. It's getting close, it's just not the 16th of April yet, because that's when its initial release date is. But I hope you enjoyed this movie review. I did get the Blu-ray version for this movie, which it's an okay movie. I don't know if I'd revisit it again for a little while, but it's an okay watch. Definitely stay safe. Take care. Hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you in my next video.